Israeli police escorted Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha to the Old City for a tour of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the site where many believe Jesus was crucified. Israeli government spokesperson Shosh Bedrosian said Vance's visit and meetings with Israeli leaders made a strong impression.
Prime Minister Netanyahu said he was impressed with the vice president's clarity, sharpness, solidarity for our common cause, and sincere friendship that he saw in conference and private meetings that took place today.
One sticking point is allowing any troops from Turkey to take part in a peacekeeping force in Gaza. Turkey's President Erdogan strongly supports the Muslim Brotherhood, the same group that spawned Hamas. When asked about Turkey's involvement, Netanyahu said,
"So I have very strong opinions about that. You want to guess what they are?"
Vance gave Netanyahu room to disagree.
We don't want in Israel, we don't want a vassal state, and that's not what Israel is. We don't want a client state, and that's not what Israel is. We want a partnership. We want an ally here.
U.S.-Israel analyst Eli Piepsh told CBN News that Israel will take action if its national security is threatened in Gaza by Qatar or Turkey.
This is going to be the opportunity where if Qatar and Turkey are going to be acting and are going to be trying to rehabilitate, are going to protect Hamas instead of disarming Hamas, Israel is going to be very, very quick to act. If Israel acted in Doha a few weeks ago, Israel can act in Gaza even if there are Qatari or Turkish elements.
Piepsh says Turkey and Qatar value their relations with the U.S. over their relations with Hamas.
And that, I think, is a fundamental feature of this agreement. And if there's going to be friction between those countries and Israel, it will also mean there'll be friction between those countries and the U.S. And I don't think Turkey and Qatar want to have friction with the U.S.
Wednesday, Israel's parliament advanced a bill extending Israeli sovereignty over its communities in biblical Judea and Samaria, also known as the West Bank. While the vote appeared to be a political maneuver aimed at the Netanyahu government, Rubio said such a move could endanger the peace process.
That's a vote in the Knesset, but obviously I think the president's made clear that's not something we'd be supportive of right now, and we think is even threatening to the peace deal.
Meanwhile, the funeral of returned hostage Tal Haimi took place in his home of kibbutz near Yitzhak, which he died defending on October 7th. And Thai hostage Sonthaya Okarasri was honored prior to sending his body home for burial. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio shortly after his arrival. His visit comes on the heels of Vice President J.D. Vance and negotiators Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. President Trump visited last week.
This is a circle of trust and partnership. You've been an extraordinary friend of Israel, and now we face days of destiny. We want to advance peace. We still have security challenges, but I think that we can work together, and by working together, both address the challenges and seize the opportunities.
Rubio noted that it's just over a week since President Trump's work led to the release of 20 living hostages and a ceasefire, the first phase in a multi-step and complicated peace plan. Hamas also agreed to the return of 28 dead hostages, but 13 are still unaccounted for, leading to charges they violated the deal.
No one's under any illusions. We've already done the impossible once, and we intend to keep doing that if we can. We have good partners that we're working on, but we feel confident and positive about the progress that's being made. We're clear-eyed about the challenges, too.
A small number of Knesset members put a strain on the U.S.-Israel relationship when they passed the first reading of a bill to extend Israeli sovereignty over biblical Judea and Samaria, also known as the West Bank. When asked if he thought the sovereignty vote would affect the peace plan, Trump said,
"They're not going to do anything with the West Bank. Don't worry about it. Israel's doing very well. They're not going to do anything with it."
He also told Time magazine that Israel would lose U.S. support if that happened. The Prime Minister's office said the vote was a deliberate political provocation by the opposition to sow discord during Vice President J.D. Vance's visit to Israel. Tech columnist and Israel advocate Hillel Fold tells CBN News he sees the vote as part of a global political trend to tear down political leaders.
And so the opposition said, "Oh, here's a good way to give it to Bibi. We're going to vote for, sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, and just annoy the vice president, which they did, and it worked because he said he was offended, which is a very strange statement to make.
Regarding Trump's statements, Fold says he believes Trump is a real friend to Israel, but that could change.
If Netanyahu makes one wrong move or even says one wrong word, I have a feeling that that friendship, that love affair is going to come to an end. And unfortunately, right now, whether it's a right move or a wrong move to take sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, I think it's a little bit absurd, for lack of a better term, that the United States of America thinks it has the right to dictate to Israel a decision that's internal to Israel, let alone a security issue.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.